Today I'm going to show you how to make a form-fitting mask using Worbla's Finest Art. If that's how you say that name. Worbla? Worbla's Finest Art. It's a thermoplastic. It's this new product. They have a few cosplay tutorials on it, so it's not really popular yet. This 11 by 17 sheet, it was like $17. Yeah. I have yet to paint the mask yet, but this is what it came out as. It's still pretty flexible and it fits really, really well to my face. It's really flush. It looks like a real mask. Like if I was a superhero or a supervillain, I would wear this as my mask. First thing you're gonna wanna do is decide on a shape. I cut shapes out of newspaper and I make a variety of them. I kind of see what shape is gonna look best on my face. So like, this shape is based more on the Harley costume. It has a really tight V. So this is actually the shape I'm going to be using. Make sure it fits, your eyeballs fit. This is actually going to be kind of wide, leave it that way, because whatever molding material you're going to use, you're going to push that down over your nose. And see how it shrinks to the right size? It goes inside my nose. So once you've decided on a mask shape, we're going to trace the pattern onto your material. Ta-da! Now, Worbla's is really amazing because it is really flexible. You can cut it with scissors, with an exacto knife. So go ahead and cut this out. Now, I find with the Worbla's to cut out my pattern, I actually like to heat it up a little bit and that makes it easier to cut. You don't have to do that. This material you can just cut with scissors like really easily. Just like that. But I find I get a cleaner line when I heat it up just a little bit. Literally just 5 seconds. I heat it up a bit. It's still very cool to the touch. Just take some scissors and start cutting. It's easier the sharper the scissors you have, but this material, this shiny edge, is actually a layer of glue as compared to the dull edge. And because of that glue, you're able to sand it very nicely. So don't worry if it's a little rough on the edges. Reheat if necessary. And I use an exacto for the eye holes. So this is what your cutout mask should look like. Make sure to always save all of these scraps because this can actually be completely melted down and molded, kind of just like clay. So don't throw anything away. You might use it later for a different project. So now you're going to heat up your mask so it's going to mold your face. I am using a heat gun. I have it on the 500 setting, the second highest, and just on low. That heats it up quicker. You can totally use a hairdryer. It's just going to take a little bit longer for your plastic to get hot enough to mold freely. I heated mine for about 10 seconds. You want this consistency. It's kind of rubbery. And it's not very hot. I can freely hold it in my hands. I'm placing it on my face very quickly. Kind of lining it up with my eyebrows. Just kind of feeling, make sure it's even. Then I'm going to push this part on my nose down. I'm going to pinch it in so it clings to my nose. And it's really good to go look in a mirror right now so you can see the shape of your mask. But just slowly press it to your face. And remember, you can always reheat it and remold it if it's not looking right. Now it depends on how thick you want your mask. I showed you my first one is extremely thin. So I'm actually cutting out 2 of these and I'm going to place them on top of each other to make my mask a little thicker. It's all up to you, do whatever you want. I think double thickness is going to hold a little bit better. Now I'm going to be doing my double masks. This was actually the one that was fitted to my face. I literally just melted it back and you see it's already becoming flatter. I'm going to heat up both of them until they get really rubbery. So the first one is laying with the sticky, gluey side down. And because of that gluey side, this shiny side, you can just lay them on top of each other and they're going to glue themselves together. So I'm just kind of making sure it's all even around the edges. Okay, there's my double thickness mask. You can kind of see it didn't line up perfectly, but we can just sand that down later once it's dry. So heat it back up to where it's really pliable. Make sure it's not too hot, gonna burn you. It's pretty hot right now. I'm gonna kind of cool it down. And once it's double fold, it's a little harder to mold. It's a little stiffer. Now I'm doing my double thickness. Still very bendy, moldy. I'm gonna place it over my eyes. Actually, what I do is I lay down on my bed and make sure it's all fitting so it's with the gravity. And I kind of smile a bit to push this up so when I do smile, it's not going to cut into my cheeks. And I forgot to mention, as this is drying, I do not put a string on mine. I actually glue this top part to my face. So I put that there with spirit gum and then it just stays on. If you did want to add a string to tie it, you're going to have to drill a little hole right here while it's soft. So then you can put a string in it once it hardens. It's still kind of warm to the touch, but you can feel the plastic isn't pliable. Now let it dry all the way, so completely not be hot. And then we can sand the edges. Now my mask is completely cool. I am ready to start sanding it. I'm just using a pretty rough grit. I guess not super rough, kind of medium. I don't know where the package went. It looks like this. I'm gonna start sanding it. It is now sanded and all evened out. You can see it looks uneven right here, like you can see the two layers, but it feels smooth to the touch. So once you're happy with the shape, I'm actually gonna spray prime it and then sand it again to fill in any of the gaps. So this time around, I sprayed it and I actually sanded it again. This time I used a much finer grit sandpaper. So I'm pretty much going to repeat this process, spray it, sand it, spray it, sand it, until I'm completely satisfied with the shape and the smoothness of the mask. Okay, here we go. This is the completed mask. So I pretty much had to sand it and spray it with primer at least 6-7 times before I finally sprayed it black. I love it. It turned out really well. My mask doesn't touch my eyes at all, which is really nice. So the last touch is I just glue it to my face with some spirit gum and then I'm ready to go. Here you go, completed Harley Quinn mask.